What's up, everyone? It's your man, Sean Zittel, here from the MGM Grand Media Room, and wasn't able to do a live stream on the fight. Couldn't get that all situated, but just watched the fight with a lot of my colleagues here covering Pacquiao Barrios. Man, what a knockout by Oleksandr Usyk. This was an Oleksandr Usyk who made some adjustments and was prepared for the adjustments that Daniel Dubois kind of knew exactly what his adjustment was going to be. Try to do what he did against Joshua, go downhill behind his jab and break down Usyk and impose his physical strength, his youth, and his punching power. But Oleksandr Usyk met power with power a little bit more in this fight. He punched with badder intentions than he usually does. And Usyk will usually be a guy that touches you up. And then, later in the fight, after he's broken you down and you're fatigued and he continues to shift gears higher and higher, he cranks up a left hand like he did against Tyson Fury in their first fight that dropped him. But he was cranking up that left hand earlier than I've ever seen him in the heavyweight division. He knew that Dubois would come forward behind that jab and that double jab. And so Usyk, might have been the second or third round, he let Dubois get the double jab off just to take a step near the ropes and boom, hit him with the straight left hand. And it wasn't no regular straight left hand. Again, he was sitting down on these punches bad. And so credit to Dubois for trying to back up what he said he was going to do, go right after Usyk, take it to him. He didn't wait on him as much as he did in their first fight. But once Usyk neutralized him a little bit after a round or two, he was forced to slow down and wait on Usyk a lot. And I do think Usyk, maybe it was because he was throwing punches, with sitting down on them that much earlier in the fight. But literally in the fifth round, I was saying to the other journalists watching, I was saying, I'm not seeing Usyk feint as often as he does, maybe at 38. And then right as I said it, he got the feints going. And then that led eventually to the knockout. It was, believe he countered Dubois with a right hook on the top of the head and dropped him. And then beautiful combination punching, kind of how he finished off Daniel Dubois. He just put them together beautifully. And this was a hell of a knockout for Oleksandr Usyk. And Dubois knew he was a beaten man. So now I wonder what makes the most sense for the pound-for-pound king and heavyweight champion of the world. I'm just going to say I want to see Moses Saitama, even though he's not even ready, even though he'd be jumping up 5 or 6 levels. But I think Usyk said before Dubois, he only has 2 fights left, Dubois, and then one more after that. If we can only get one more out of him, it comes down to 2 choices for me. Either if he's going to fight a veteran, Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is a great style matchup. Joseph Parker has the feet and the IQ and the jab and some of the hand speed to challenge Usyk in areas where he's usually dominant against bigger heavyweights. Love that fight. And then the other fight, Moses Saitama, even though, again, he'd be skipping so many steps. And Saitama fights Dillian White next month. I think he wins that fight by knockout. I think those are the 2 fights that make sense. If Usyk is to do what he originally said, which is fight 2 more fights, he just got this first one done, 1 more left, and Saitama or Parker. But man, what a tear Usyk's on, from the gold medal, undisputed cruiserweight champ, undisputed heavyweight champ. And I really want to give him credit because coming up to heavyweight, I didn't think he'd do all this. I thought the way he likes to, I used to be a dumbass and say, well, some of those pity pat shots that he does to set up his harder shots, those heavyweights ain't going to let him pity pat around to set that stuff up. And no, that didn't age well in my brain. It's his feints, and I've said this over the years, it's his feints and his busyness with his feet and his upper body and his feints, and he can switch speeds on the punches and do so many crafty things. He's just an all-time great fighter, no doubt about that. I guess there's still a little bit of a debate about that, but to me, it's case closed. He's definitely an all-time great heavyweight and all-time great fighter pound for pound. And that doesn't mean I even think Tyson Fury, the night he fought here at the MGM, February 2020, that night, that Fury, I think would have been a little bit too much for Usyk and would have beat him. But that's a hypothetical. He kicked Fury's ass in real life twice. So I just point that out to say I'm not being a prisoner of the moment. I'm not saying Usyk beats Ali. I don't think he does. Or Lennox Lewis or Vitaly Klitschko, his Ukrainian countryman. But I do think he's an all-time great, and there's no question about it. So let's see what we get tonight from Pacquiao and Barrios. And also in the Bam Kafu fight. I expect Bam to win that fight, but Kafu, I don't care what BoxRec says. It looks like he has longer arms than Bam, and he's a good counterpuncher. But anyway, from the MGM Grand, peace. Congrats to Usyk.